We are officially halfway through the year of talking about books and video games that I love. So today, I thought I'd switch it up. I am going to talk about a book and a movie that I love. Disney Channel's Descendants is my favorite trilogy to ever come out of DCOMs, and of course, I read the books that predate each one. I'd consider myself an expert. So today, we're going to be talking about the differences between the first book and the first movie, and we'll be continuing the series.
Once upon a time, long, long ago. Well, more like 20 years ago. Belle married her beast in front of 6,000 of their closest personal friends. Big cake. Yeah, so instead of a honeymoon, Beast united all of the kingdoms and got himself elected King of the United States of Oridon. He rounded up all the villains and sidekicks, basically all the really interesting people, and he booted them off to the Isle of the Lost with a magical barrier to keep them there.
This is what Mal tells us at the beginning of Descendants, the story of how her story began. What she doesn't tell us is that when Beast banished the villains to the Isle, he brought some of them back from death. How else should we expect Maleficent to be there? Brought back from death with no magic and no way off, Maleficent found what she thought was love, but was really a moment of boredom, of weakness with a human. And from it came her daughter Mal, half human, all weakness. So how does Mal's story really begin? By watching a birthday party from above. A certain princess turns 6 years old and Mal is not invited. The princess's mother is jealous of Mal's mother because Maleficent was elected Queen of the Isle. As with any good story, there is a king of the good land and a queen of the bad land. And there are two children, a weak human, but also a strong one, getting ready to lead, all on his own. Prince Benjamin, soon to be king, is learning what it takes to be royalty. In the movie, we know that his royal coronation is only a few days away, the day when he'll be crowned king. And in the book, he is partaking on his first quest to make certain he is ready. Sidekicks United are unhappy with the way things are going in Oridon. If you think the villains are being treated unfairly, you've probably forgotten how unthanked Princess's sidekicks are. The dwarves, the friendly animals, even the genie are being expected to wait hand and foot on the heroines and heroes without so much as pay. They filed a petition and King Beast sent them Ben's way. Ben wants to lead like his father with a stern hand, but his hand is smaller and a bit more whiny, and therefore he throws a fit to be heard during his first meeting with the sidekicks. It is later, as he's regretting his actions, that Ben realizes he wants to rule like his mother, too. He has a memory of Belle from when he was 5 years old, sitting with her in her giant library as they read fairy tales together. They read all day, his books from the lower shelves and hers from the higher ones, and missed a royal luncheon. His dad came in, all beast mode and angry, but Belle stood up for them, saying, "These aren't just stories, they're whole kingdoms, they're worlds, they're perspectives and opinions you can offer from lives you haven't lived. They're more valuable than any gold coin and more important than any state luncheon." In that moment, she was the Belle I wanted for the movie, and the mom that Ben needed. When he has his next meeting with just the dwarf Grumpy, Ben emulates all of Belle's grace and comes up with agreements to please him, leaving the Sidekicks United happy, but mostly taken care of, because Ben wants to take care of his kingdom, all of it, even the Isle of the Lost. Back on the Isle, it is Evie's first day of real school. Not Ardon Prep, but the school on the Isle, Dragon Hall, because for 10 years, Evie and her mother have been banished from leaving their castle because they did not invite Mal to Evie's 6th birthday party. Mal and Evie didn't begin as friends as they did in the movie. They begin as enemies. Mal wants to get back at Evie for that fateful party, so she teams up with Jay, the only one on the island who is her partner in crime. Mal doesn't have any friends, but Jay is like her sibling. They bully Carlos, who is admittedly scared of them, into throwing a party at Hell Hall while his mom is away from home for the week. And Mal originally tells Evie she isn't invited, but that just doesn't sting enough, and when she's given a school assignment of pulling off an evil scheme, she decides Evie needs to come after all. She needs to pull off a really evil deed at the party. After Carlos rescues Evie from Cruella's fur coat closet, he shows her his evil science invention. It seems to be no more than a little black box, but Carlos thinks it can open the radio waves to give them more TV than just the Auradon News. Only it does so much more. It opens a hole in the dome barrier around the Isle. Only Carlos is unaware, but Maleficent isn't. Maleficent's crow Diablo comes back. When Beast sent him to the Isle, he left him frozen in stone, but something unfroze him. The hole in the dome? He finds Maleficent and reports to her that her scepter, the Dragon's Eye, is somewhere on the Isle as well. Wherever it is, it's clear to Mal that Maleficent cherishes Diablo more than her weak, half-human self. And the only way she can prove to Maleficent that she isn't weak, that she's worthy of her admiration, is for her to go find the Dragon's Eye and bring it back. Jay is the first person Mal goes to about this, for as friendless as she is, he's the only other person she trusts, whether that's a mistake or not. He doesn't believe her at first, but when she becomes desperate to go for it as her evil scheme assignment, he decides to go with her. He has his own agenda, of course. Jafar wants him to steal the Dragon's Eye for himself. The other two that go with him have their own agendas as well. Carlos wants to appease his curiosity and discover for himself if his invention really works, and Evie wants to see what Mal is really up to. And what is it that she's up to? Why, the first person to touch the scepter will be cursed with 1,000 years of sleep, and Mal still wants to get back at Evie. Their adventure to find the Dragon's Eye is when these four VKs really shine. I wish the movie had given as much depth to their characters. We only get a skeleton of who Evie, Jay, and Carlos really are. In the movie, Evie is the pretty one that wants to win boys' hearts by playing dumb, and Jay is the thief turned tourney star. But it's Carlos who really had a life of his own on the Isle.
Carlos, this is Dude. He's the campus mutt.
He doesn't look like a vicious rabbit pack animal. Jeez. You're a good boy, aren't you? You're a good boy.
I guess you guys have it pretty rough on the island.
Yeah. Let's just say we don't get a lot of belly rubs.
Good boy. I mean, you're a good runner. You're fast, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Carlos is a top student of Dragon Hall. He's a year younger than the other three, but he's already in all their EP classes. Evil science is his favorite, and he excels at it. To Carlos, science is magic. Carlos has a school rival in Riza, and he even has friends of his own. The sons of Cruella's minions, Harry and Jace, are Carlos's second and third best friends. He holds off on naming either of them his first best friend, because he wants a better one. He also has an evil sidekick, Beelzebub, one of Lucifer's kittens. He loves all animals, not just dogs. And it's when they reach the bridge of the Forsaken Fortress that he is asked about his mother's greatest love. Each of the four VKs have to face a riddle in order to get through the Forsaken Fortress. Carlos is asked 3 different questions about his mom, but it is the third one that stumps him. The other VKs think they're being asked what their moms love the most. Evie answers beauty. Mal answers her dad. But Jay, the only one without a mom, knows it's about Carlos's, and with a broken heart, Carlos answers her furs. It was Jay's dad that told the kids where to find the Forsaken Fortress. Jafar overheard Mal telling Jay about the Dragon's Eye and told the two about Nowhere, the area on the Isle nobody is allowed, and how to get to it to find Maleficent's castle. Jay's riddle is in a dungeon in the castle that quickly takes shape of the Cave of Wonders. Jay is the best thief on the Isle, but no matter what he steals for his dad, it could be better. Jafar is expecting the big score from him, the one steal that could get them off this Isle of the Lost, Leftover, and Forgotten forever. And what could be a bigger score than the Dragon's Eye? That's why Jay went with Mal in the first place. But when he sees the treasures in the Cave of Wonders, he starts stealing those instead, believing they could be just as big a score. It's why he's so distracted from the riddle the first time he hears it, the golden rule. He's only heard it from Jafar 1,000,000 times. Whoever has the most gold makes the rules.
Evie, perhaps this is just review for you. So tell me, what is the average atomic weight of silver?
Atomic weight? Well, not very much. I mean, it's an atom, right? Let's see. How do I find the average atomic weight of silver? That would be 106.905 times 0.5200 plus 108.905 times 0.4800, which Mr. Delay would give us 107.9 Amu.
I forget. Always a mistake to underestimate.
A villain? Don't make it again.
Because Evie was banished to her own castle for 10 years, she only had her mother, their beauty regimen, and evil queen's spell books. She desperately wants to make friends. It's why she went with Mal and the others in the first place. She took to Carlos right away. They started hanging out in school and quickly bonded as siblings. He was her first love in a way. Her mother's first love was her own beauty, which she tries to instill in Evie. When they reach a magic mirror in the castle, Evie realizes she'll never be beautiful enough, at least not to her mom's standards. The magic mirror turns the four into ugly old hags until Evie can answer its riddle, the spell in her mother's book. Evil Queen used spells all her villainhood, but that's not something Evie wants to take after. She just wants to be loved, and she realizes she has 3 people here who might just learn to love her, beautiful or not.
Are you insane? Long live evil! You're mean, you're awful, you're bad news. Snap out of it.
Thanks, Mal. I needed that.
Is Mal learning to love Evie? Is she learning to love Jay and Carlos? Her riddle is not a question, it's a choice. She's finally made it to the throne room, the room her mother sat to rule over all. The throne is not there, but the room is real, and so is the magic, and there's the dragon eye. All she has to do now is let Evie touch it. But she doesn't. Mal stops Evie and takes hold of the scepter herself. The curse is 1,000 years of sleep. Mal dreams of her mom, a young girl who wasn't invited to the baby's coronation. She watches as Maleficent curses Aurora, and she only feels one thing: pity for her mother, the woman who called Mal a weak human at 5 years old when she helped a goblin pick up a basket of apples, the woman who won't allow her to have her whole name until she proves she can bear it, Maleficent. Mal waits before she can tell her mom how she feels, because Mal isn't a weak human. The curse doesn't affect her. Only now the scepter is gone. Mal looks to Jay. He doesn't have it. He decided not to take it, just as Mal decided not to take revenge on Evie, because maybe, just maybe, the 4 of them are now friends. On their way out of the Forsaken Fortress, the 4 are stopped by a group of goblins who watched Mal's act of bravery. They help them back home because they want to prove they are good, to earn their way to Oradon, where they dream to be.
Mal, I told you that I loved you. What about you? Do you love me?
feels like.
Maybe I can teach you.
Al has been dreaming of Oradon too. Well, of Ben, of having a picnic with him and tasting her first strawberry. But to her, it's a nightmare. To Ben, who has been dreaming of Mal on the Isle, it's something entirely.
Give them a chance.
No offense, Benny Bear. You're just too trusting. Look, I know your mom fell in love with a big, nasty beast who turned out to be a prince. But with my mom, the evil fairy was just the evil fairy. That girl's mother.
He's with Audrey, the beautiful princess whose presence he finds happiness around, but he also finds himself bored around her. He wonders what it is he truly knows about her, what she knows of him. She loves him, but he's not sure he's in love with her. He can't stop thinking about Mal, about the kids on the Isle, and as the four VKs hear the same words from all their parents, "I'm so disappointed in you," Ben knows it's time to tell his parents what he wants as his first act as king, to bring the kids of the villains home to Auradon. I met this girl and rocked my world like it's never been rocked. So now I'm living just for her and I won't ever stop. I never thought that it could happen to a gal like me, but now look at what you done, you got me down on my knees.